Greetings, critters, Critical Role fans, fans of the dark, deep, and mysterious, and curious onlookers. Candela Obscura is now live. We have been very excited about what, if anything, Critical Role / Darrington Press is going to bring to the table with the release of their Illuminated Worlds dice pool system. And today we have the premiere of the first playthrough of the Illuminated Worlds dice pool system, Candela Obscura, a alternate world steampunk mystery solving type horror game. You know, Call of Cthulhu. So yes. Now, if you know me, you know I love D6 dice pool systems. More than I love D20. I mean, if we're going to go down the systems that I love and how they run, percentile, obviously, first, D6 dice pool systems, or at least D6 systems second, and then the obscure weirdness that is D20 systems. So yeah, I love D6 system. So I was very optimistic, very excited to see this. We have the QuickStart, which I, of course, immediately downloaded. And we have the how to play video hosted by the guy who created it, who, after watching it, probably wasn't the best choice to host it. But at least it's somebody from Darrington Press doing something. So for anybody out there who's, perpetuating the myth that nobody at Darrington Press Critical Role does any work other than Mercer, here's somebody from Darrington Press Critical Role who produced a role-playing game, a D6 role-playing game, and jumped into the deep end of the pool amidst all the OGL chaos and decided to try their hand at competing in the D6 world and the generic universal world. Because remember, this is a system-neutral D6 dice pool system that is trying to grab the whole, you can play anything you want. Well, we know that my basis for I can play anything you want is superheroes. Sure. Can I make fantasy in your D6 system? Probably. Can I make modern day in your D6 system? Probably. Can I make space type stuff in your D6 system? Maybe. Can I make superheroes in your D6 system? Because for me, that is my benchmark. If I cannot use your generic system to make supers, it doesn't pass the mustard, because I think that is one of the hardest systems to make a game around, especially with a generic system. So let's take a look. Let's start with the character record sheet. The download comes with the current QuickStart rules, something called the circle sheet, something called the field guide, and the pre-generated characters. The best way to get an idea of how a system works, let's look at the example character. Okay, we got the name of the game, character name, character style, I don't know, pronouns, nope, okay, already we know we're going to have problems with that, guys. My pronoun, Batman. Catalyst, circle and question. I'm going to guess catalyst is the thing that makes you decide to go out and adventure. What is the event that led you to go, you know what, I'm going to go, in the case of this world, fight supernatural bad guys. Circle, I don't know, the secret, probably either the circle of magic you get your powers from, or maybe the circle that you belong to. Question, what motivates these are all, we've seen all of these in character-driven background role-playing life path type systems. Okay, the stats are nerve, cunning, and intuition. Each stat has a substat under it. Nerve has move, strike, and control. Cunning has sway, read, and hide. Intuition has survey, focus, and sense. Then we have roles and specialties. So it looks like the roles are the pretty standard D20 roles. Slink, your jack of all trades rogue. Scholar, your wizard. Face, your charisma guy. Weird, your wizard. Muscle, your brick. So yeah, pretty much standard breakdown of generic roles that we could modify to fit a settings. And then each one has a specialty. Our Slink's specialty is criminal. And then we have, I guess, marks, body, brain, and bleed. Scars. These are probably their equivalent of hit points. And if you get scars, I don't know what that means. Then there's something up here called drives, which is probably some rule you can use to push your dice to the next dice roll. D6 system looks like bare minimum 2. Then you probably get a number of dice you can roll for each of these. And then extra, yeah. Does this look familiar? Yeah, kind of. But let's not make any hasty judgments. I mean, there's only so many different ways you can do a D6 system, and there's only so many words left to use to express things. So with a finite number of possibilities at this point in the history of the hobby, obviously things are going to start to look the same. Okay, but let's not be judgmental. Let's move on. Let's move on to the circle sheet. Circle sheet, what do you tell me about the game? Why can't I do more than one page and share screen anymore? I used to be able to just do it before SteamYard updated, but now I can't. I have to do one page at a time, which is just dumb. All right, so this is the circle sheet. The circle of, yeah, it's like a guild sheet. You know, your circle has abilities. Your circle has powers that you can dip. This looks very familiar. This is basically like the organization charts from Blades in the Dark. Yeah. So each player character is going to belong to one or more circles. Each circle, house, guild, organization, faction has certain abilities and certain resources that the character can call on during the game or in between games to train, refresh, heal themselves, learn new things, get access to stuff. And as the game progresses, probably you can increase this through downtime. So indirect ripoff of Blades in the Dark and other previous existing games that had rules for guilds and stuff like that, like, you know, community building games and see. Okay, I mean, I don't dislike this. You know, this is the kind of thing. Sure, faction rules, great, as long as they don't take too much time, and most of it is things you can do between games or during downtime, and it doesn't, you know, break the game. You don't have the way to, you know, cross your background with your faction with your other thing to build that stream of things that gets you extra rolls. So I don't love this. I don't hate this. I think it has its place, especially in a Blades in the Dark type game where the factions play an important part. But since the whole thing about Illuminated Worlds, or whatever this thing is called, is it's supposed to be for short, concise, you know, 3 or 4 episode games, I don't really need this. This might be a rule specific to Candela Obscura, but if this is something that reads to the whole world, you know, if I'm making multiple games using this generic system, but one of the intrinsic rules is this behind the scenes guild faction system, that to me says long-term investment, long-term role-playing, long-term behind the scenes stuff, which according to you is not the point of this game. The point of this system is short-term, arc-driven, 1 shots, 2 shots, 3 shots, limited campaigns, beginning, middle, and end TV series, which means I don't need this. So I need to know more about this, which I assume will be explained in the core rules. All right. We looked at that. Let's look at the field guide. Okay. I guess this is a cheat sheet. What these things mean and when I can use them. So you would have this with your character sheet if you didn't know, you know, to look up things really quick. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing positive, nothing negative, always a good thing. There are definitely systems out there that could use this that don't have this, you know. I mean, there is a cheat sheet floating around for 5e, but it's not official from Wizards of the Coast, and it's definitely one of the things Wizards of the Coast should have printed. And if you've played Pathfinder, any version for more than 5 minutes, you know Pathfinder would be much better off with some type of cheat sheet that explains the order you can do things in and stuff like that. So these things are great. I love these. Nothing wrong with that. All right, now the meat and bones. We've looked at all the sides. let's look at the meat and bones. The core rules of Candela Obscura. Let's open them up and share screen. Ooh, we spared no expense. Spared no expense. Candela Obscura got this cool looking cover. It's a PDF quick start. Don't really need this, but whatever. Okay. Yep, a lot of wasted space. Oh, a whole thing on content warning and safety tools. It's a horror game. Contact warning and safety tools and horror do not go hand in hand. Okay? Horror is not safe. That's the whole point of horror. So if you have a safety tool in a horror game, it becomes Scooby-Doo. Not that I have anything wrong with Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo being one of my all-time favorite cartoon series, except especially Netflix's Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. That one's great. If you never watched any other Scooby-Doos, watch Mystery Incorporated. Okay, but yeah, so that's -2 points. How to use this guide. All right. The rules of the world takes place in a world that resembles your own. Normal people don't know about what's going on. There's a barrier between this realm and the beyond. There are places where this barrier is weakened. These are referred to as thinnings. These thinnings allow magic energy to come through. Rules of magic. Magic becomes infused to blah, 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 blah. The mechanics. Preparations. All player characters will need one of the 5 pre-generated character sheets alongside this quick start guide and 9 6-sided dice. 3 of these dice should be separate and distinct color. They're referred to as the gilded dice. The remaining 6 will be known as simply as standard dice. Okay, so this sounds really familiar. So I'll have dice for one color, dice for a different color, and the gilded dice probably let me do something special at the cost of doing something else. Or we just add to the series of dice like force points in Star Wars, or the ever-expanding D6s in Mutant Year Zero. So basically just ways for you to spend a resource to get special dice, blah, blah, blah. Dice mechanics. On a result of 1 through 3, that you fail. On a result of 4 through 5, you accomplish what you wanted, but it comes at a cost. On a result of 6, you have a full success. You get what you want without any major unintended consequences. On multiple 6, the rolls is a critical success. You get what you want, and something extra happens. Oh, wow. Gee, how original. I have never seen these rules before. This is so new. This is, no, it's not. It's literally, this is, yes. I mean, okay, there's only so many ways you can do D6. So obviously, after a while, D6 systems are going to start looking the same. I mean, you could have done something a little different, maybe lower the better instead of higher the better, or numbers. But for the simplest math, yeah, this is simple. It's easy to understand. 6 is always a success. 1 through 3 is always a failure. Are there things I can use to increase those dice numbers? Like in Atomic Highway? Which I really like their D6 system, or not. Actions, survey, focus, sense. An action represents your character's proficiency in a given maneuver under pressure. Each can have a rating between 0 and 3, donating the number of dice you roll from performing that action. The higher the value, the more skilled your character is in the area. So I have 3d6 in survey. I roll 3d6. Each success is an automatic success. Each 4 and 5 is a success with trouble. Okay, how many successes do I need? Is that how the system works? See, Danny wants to check the room to see if anyone in the crowd is closely watching her. The GM tells her to make a survey roll. She has an action rating of 1 in survey, so she rolls 1 dice. Drives. Drives are a resource you may expend and replenish during succession. They represent your character's ability to push themselves past their standard capacity. Force dice. You can spend 1 drive point for an additional dice to roll an action that drive encompasses. You may spend as many drive points per roll as you have. So if I have 3 drive points and I roll a dice, I can add more dice to it at the cost of losing drive in the future. And I assume there's some complicated mechanic to get drive back. Like I can only get drive back in between sessions or through going to my guild. Again, very familiar. Again, sounds a lot like Blades in the Dark and Powered by the Apocalypse. It's kind of, I mean, Mutant Year Zero went a different direction, and Atomic Highway went a different direction, and obviously the gold standard of D6 systems, despite how flawed it is, West End Games D6 Star Wars went a different direction. But again, it's a familiar mechanic. You know, spend resource now at the risk of not being able to spend it later, and until X happens to get it back, probably in between game. Gilded Actions. An action is marked as gilded. You will always replace a standard dice with a gilded dice when rolling. If you choose that result on that dice, you recover 1 point of the drive associated with the action you rolled. This represents a character's ability to recoup themselves after pushing their limits. They may choose the gilded dice with the goal of recovering a drive point, even if the result is one than the one of the standard dice rolled in your dice pool. So I can subtract normal. I can replace the normal dice roll with a gilded dice roll, but okay. Cat rolls with control to see if they can successfully pick the lock on a door. They have 2 points in this action, and it is gilded. They choose to spend a nerve drive to add an additional dice to their roll. They now roll 3 dice, one of which is gilded, and choose a result. The 2 standard dice rolls 3 and a 6. The gilded dice rolls a 5. Cat could take the 6, but instead Cat chooses to take the 5 on the gilded dice so they can regenerate 1 point of nerve at the cost of having a 5, which means it's a mixed result. Something good happens, but also something bad. Do I like that mechanic? It feels a little overcomplicated. I don't dislike it again. It feels a lot like something we've already seen. I didn't expect much. Again, there's only so much you can do with a D6 system, as far as I know. You know, limited D6 like GURPS, multiple D6 like Champions, multiple D6 done in a different way like West End Games. I mean, there's only so many ways you can do D6. Higher the better, lower the better, exploding dice, no exploding dice. Each of these is a success. Each of the blah, blah, blah. You get to pick one, you know. So I guess the only thing is, how do I build a character? How does the difficulty work? Let's see. Where's the DM section? My computer does not like this PDF. Where is the where is the actual DM section? Okay, I see an example adventure. So what are you telling me? As long as I roll 1 6 out of 3 dice, that's a success, and I can ignore the 1 2. So everything is just 1 success or multiple successes. If you roll multiple 6s, it's not like, you know, you need 2 successes, 3 successes, like other D6 systems. Where's the actual mechanics? And why does my computer hate this? This is way too, okay. I mean, the quick start rules does not need to be this extensively graphic. It is killing my computer. It is killing the frame rate on my computer. Now, mind you, we know my computer's a piece of crap, but the fact that I am having this much trouble loading the quick start because of the excessive colors and graphics and stuff, that's just why. That's just such a waste for a quick start. Roles and consequences. Building a character. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 roles. Face, muscle, scholar, slink, and weird. Each role has a sub-role. For this game, they have 2 face: journalist, magician, muscle, explorer, soldier, scholar, doctor, professor, slink, criminal or detective, weird, medium, or occultist. Medium and occultist is the same thing. What's the difference between a medium and occultist and a magician? So you have 3 things that are basically the same. Scholar, doctor, or professor, same thing. Same thing. You become a doctor, it's MA, BA, MMA, DR. So doctor and professor, same thing. Okay, criminal and detective are the exact opposite. Explorer and soldier are different. Journalist is a thing on its own, but magician, medium, and occultist, same thing. Same thing. How do I make a character? You will go through the standard character creation. The 5 included sheets are pre-generated. They only require a small bit of customization. After you choose your specialty, take one of the 2 abilities from the specialty list. Okay, how many dice do I get? Connections, gears, and marks, circle mechanics. No. How many dice do I get for this character? Gilded actions? No, okay. Don't care. Abilities? Don't care. Roles and consequences? Okay. I'm getting a pre-generated character, right? Okay. I'm going to look at the pre-generated character. There are no numbers in any of these. I do see that part of their nerve is colored in. So does that mean they have 3 dice in nerve, 6 dice in cunning, and no dice in intuition? That's what it looks like. Okay, so here's the character record sheet. And let's do that. All right, so see down here, nerve, and then this little teeny black mark is telling me my max drive and nerve is 3. So 3d6. And then cunning, I have 2 that are filled out, so that's 6. So that's 66. 66 plus 3d6 is 96. But then remember, some of those dice are the gilded dice. So this one automatically has taken gilded of hide. That one means that's its you roll the special dice for this one. That's why the diamond is filled in, and it's taken survey, even though it has no dice in intuition. So it still has a default dice roll, which is 1d6, 2d6. God, this sounds familiar. Oh, what was that other d6 game? There's another d6 game that came out years ago that got a lot of good press until you actually read it. Was it Forge? Fate? It was before Blaze There. I don't know. Okay. So what are my default dice? Maybe I should watch the video. I shouldn't need to watch the video. It should be clearly labeled in the Kickstart with examples. You could have saved me a lot of time and space. I don't need this art. What I need is examples. What dice do I use? How many dice do I get? Am I assuming that because there are 9 filled out spots and 1 gilded that I have 9d6 and then 2 gilded dice out of my 9d6? Okay, well, survey says it's fine. I don't need this. I need more understanding of how the system works and what I can and cannot do with it, but I get it. You're just trying to push the Candela Obscura now to get people right into playing the pre-generated characters and understanding what they're going to see on the screen later today when it goes live. And you should probably watch the video of the guy talking about it. which would explain some things that aren't explained in the rules, because that's how I guess we do things now. We give you a quick start guide, and we give you a guy talking about it who explains all the things for you that the rules don't explain. So between watching the video and reading this, by the end of that, you should know everything you need to know to watch Critical Role, play Candela Obscura today, and run it tomorrow with the pre-generated characters, and then wait for the actual book for Illuminated Worlds to show you how to explore the rest of it. Now, they are coming out with a Candela Obscura specific world book, but they're also coming out with the Illuminated Legendary Lives Fate powered by the Critical Role as well. So that's what I'm going to wait for to see, is the complete system guide. What can I do with your D6 system? How many do I get? How does it work? And most importantly, can I build Batman? Because, you know, somebody once said the way to judge a superhero system is, can you build Spider-Man in it? You know, both the easiest character to make and the hardest character to make. So if your system allows you to make Spider-Man, it's a good superhero system. So that's, you know, the system, what I judge every superhero system by, or at least everybody system by. Does your system let me build everything I come up with, no matter how weird it is? And if you've heard me talk about Savage Worlds before, where I was like, surprisingly, yes, it did. Every idea I had, I found a way to make in Savage Worlds with very little difficulty. So, you know, GURPS, tried too hard to be champions. Champions, well, we know it's what I feel about champions. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Some people find it way too confusing. West End Games D6 system, once you understand how it works, it's pretty good. Atomic Highway D6 system, I really like that system. It could, you know, have like one more playtest. Blades in the Dark D6, powered by the Apocalypse D6. Simplicity itself, but you know, there's things that aren't explained here in the quick start that I need to get to be explained to me. And if I have to watch the video as well, that's already losing a 3 points. So 3 points down. So out of 10, Candela Obscura, so far you are a 4 out of 10. You're not the perfect D6 system I would like. Definitely riding on the coattails of other D6 systems that have come ahead of you. I can see the heavy influence from Blades in the Dark / powered by the Apocalypse. And some with the Force, the Gilded Dice is Force dice, you know, so obviously this guy has sort of picked and choosed from different D6 systems and cobbled them together to make Candela Obscura. And he's obviously designed it specifically to emulate the genre, Victorian mystery, supernatural horror, you know, the Nethers, Carnival Row, those kind of stuff. But it's got safety tools, so it's safe horror. So Scooby-Doo. We have to see it played, and I guess we have to watch the video of the guy explaining it again, which I posted a link to down below. I give this a 4.5 out of 10. I'll watch the video a second time, but right now, you know, it's nothing I haven't seen before. But again, it's a D6 system, so I've seen pretty much everything a D6 system can do before. It's really a matter of how will Critical Role perpetuate this and monetize it and get it out there to the public to put into a position to truly be the king of D6 alternatives, you know, because that's what they need it to be, you know. But I don't think this is going to be the forefront of their marketing. Probably this is going to be the and game. But yeah, I think the forefront of what they're going to do for the future is Daggerheart, because Daggerheart is the game that's going to hopefully steal that percentage from D&D, you know, those 1 billion, 2 billion Critical Role fans and the 9.6 billion Stranger Things fans who jumped on 5e simply because of Critical Role and Stranger Things. Can they get those people to abandon 5e and follow them to wherever Dagger in the Heart takes them? If they can, they could easily become the second most popular tabletop role-playing game in the world, if not the most popular. But this Well, it ain't going to knock D&D 5e off the top of the pyramid. It could, if monetized and advertised and worked correctly, become the #1 D6 system. For those of us who love D6 systems, it just, again, what can I do? What can I make? Will your system let me make Batman, Spider-Man? If it does, great. That's it. Links down below if you want to get the quick start. Links down below if you want to watch the guy talk through it. The first playthrough is going to go live later today on the Critical Role Twitch. And then tonight it'll go live on the Critical Role YouTube. And we can watch it and make fun of it tomorrow. Till then, I'm the OG GM. Join me tomorrow at 10 a.m. as I am interviewed by the Red Room as we talk about all things wretched vigilantes. Till then, Candela Obscura!